When we need to retrieve related data from multiple tables in a database, one of the most powerful tools we have at our disposal is joins. The inner join is often the most straightforward type of join for most people to understand because it only retrieves the rows where there is a match between tables. Today, you'll learn how to use inner joins effectively, and by the end, you will find them clearer and more intuitive than ever before. To understand the inner join, I want you to take a look at the following scenarios. Retrieve a list of customers along with the orders they have placed. Display students and the courses they are enrolled in. Show patients along with their scheduled appointments. Now I want to ask you something. What do all these scenarios have in common? They exclude people or items that have not taken a specific action. Include the customer that placed orders, exclude the customer that have not placed orders. Include students that are enrolled in a class, exclude students that are not enrolled in the class. Include patients that have booked an appointment, exclude patients who have not booked an appointment. And this is the key concept of the inner join. An inner join returns rows where there is a match between both tables based on a specified condition. Rows that do not satisfy the condition, that is, items without a corresponding match, are excluded. Now, imagine we have the following tables. So we have a customer table and we have a orders table. In the customers table, I have a customer ID, and this customer ID identifies each customer. And in the orders table, I have an order ID that identifies each order. However, I also have this customer ID that is associated with this customer ID. So for this order, customer ID 1 was the person that placed this order on this date. So customer ID in the orders table is referencing customer ID in the customers table. Here I have the same tables, but I reorder the columns for you to see clearer that I have a customer ID in the customers table and a customer ID in the orders table. And here you can see the corresponding. So here, number 1 is referenced to the customer ID number 1 in the customers table. So here the inner join is gonna go. Do we have a 1? Yes, we do. So it's gonna include this row in the result. It's not gonna include this one because we don't have a 2 in the orders table, and so on. So here are our matches. The syntax of the inner join is gonna be select, then you list the columns from both tables that you want to see the information, and from, and after the from, you want to say the inner join, the keyword inner join, and then you specify the condition using the keyword on. So I have here select, I have a list of columns that I want to give from both tables, and I have from customers. I'm gonna say inner join to join the orders table, and the condition that I'm gonna do is gonna be on customer ID equals customer ID. And here we're gonna go back to what we talked about in the previous video, which was renaming tables. Here, I need to specify which table I am referring to. So here I'm saying compare the customer ID from the customers table and the customer ID from the orders table. Also, you usually are not gonna do this, have the same column twice, but I wanted to show it this way because here you can see that here I'm selecting the customer ID from the customers table and the customer ID from the orders table. And as you can see, if you do something like this, these values should match. And here I needed to specify which table I am referring to because customer ID, a column called customer ID, is found in both tables. For name and age, you didn't have to specify because the orders table doesn't have a column called name or age. And the same thing for order ID and order date. But if you want to be more explicit, you can do this and specify for each column the table that you are referring to. So with the inner join, we were able to combine related data from multiple tables. Now I have here an exercise that we can use to practice our inner join. So the question is, provide a list of product names, their respective supplier companies, and the countries that they are based in. Sometimes you might not be able to tell right away which tables you need to use, but if you have it available, there is one thing called ER diagram. So let me show you the ER diagram for the Northwind database. So here I have a diagram for the database. So here we can see that E asks for the product name, the company name of the supplier, and the the country that they're in. So by looking at this ER diagram, I can see that the product table has a product name and suppliers. They have the company name for the supplier and also that their country that they're in. So by looking at this ER diagram, we can see that we're going to use the products table and the suppliers table. If you don't have a diagram available to you or you just don't remember all the columns in the tables, I believe MySQL and Oracle have the describe keyword. But for PG admin, you can do something like select and you're gonna do column name from information schema that columns where table name equals suppliers. And this could be the table name that you want to know. And here we have all the columns in the suppliers table. That was a little tangent right there, but I think it is important. To answer this question, we can do select, and I'm gonna set everything up in inner join based on the syntax on. And yes, I'm gonna want to order by. I like ordering sorting things. I want to select the product names. What else? I want to select the company name. And I want to select the country. And that's from the products table. And I'm gonna join this table with the suppliers table. When I type on, I don't want to type supplier ID. I don't want to, in this case, yeah, I don't want to type supplier ID, that supplier ID. I just want to be able to type S. So I'm gonna rename these tables for now, I'm gonna link my video to using the aliases. So I'm gonna do suppliers, which now is S. So I'm gonna do supplier ID equals P for products, supplier ID. I want to just order by the these columns that I have here on this select. Let me go ahead and run this query. Here you go. And if you wanted to, you could also be a very explicit with the columns in which you are trying to get. In this case, they don't have, the suppliers, they don't have product name as a column. But if you really want to be specific, you can do this. So I have a error, product name does not exist. Oh yeah, because I did it backwards. It's gonna be, yeah, these are gonna be P, S, and S. Here you go. Now I hope you understand inner joins. And with that said, this is the Database Dojo. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.